Hey everyone, welcome to Marvel Time issue number 96. We are creeping up to 100 here. We're getting really close, although I think we're about to hit a little bit of a delay given all the stuff that's going on in the world of Disney, but that's all right. Like I said, creeping up to 100. We're going to get there eventually.
We're creeping like a weirdo.
So yeah, we are going to discuss the third episode of She-Hulk Attorney at Law today. So if you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing? Go watch that. We're also going to talk about some Marvel comics, some of this week's Marvel comics, and then some Marvel news as well. So Ben, let's jump right into the comics here.
There we go.
So yeah, we're going to start off with Thunderbolts #1. We talked about this a while ago when they announced it. New Thunderbolts series with Hawkeye at the helm for this new team. How'd you like this issue?
I liked it, didn't love it.
Okay.
I did like it. It kind of went back and forth a little. It's one of those creative team issues, which like explains. I like some of the sort of fun, sort of focus grouping they do in this one.
Yeah.
This takes place. This really spins out of Devil's Reign, um, but where basically they're trying to create a new Thunderbolts to make up for the stench of the last Thunderbolts. Um,
So
and
naturally,
so
Clint Barton, right? That's your first choice.
Yeah, well, and to me, this felt like it's funny because the issue is really about how they're making a team based off of basically analytics. It's like the sabermetrics of superheroing.
Right.
But then I feel like sort of on the other level, this is just basically like the Disney Plus team. Like it feels like you have America Chavez. I mean, she was in Doctor Strange, but like sort of like a sidekick, for better words, of the MCU right now. You
Right.
have Clint Barton, obviously. Um, you've got Monica Rambeau
Monica,
from
yeah.
WandaVision. It just felt like at Wonder Man, a new version of Wonder Man, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute. Um, but yeah, it just felt a little like sort of inorganic.
Yeah. That's fair. I do like the side of the story. I mean, there's the side that the team is thrown into action and it's just sort of goofy and silly and fun. But then there's the other side of it that I do like that we talk about so often. That's sort of grounded in reality and like if superheroes existed, government slash companies would step in and build these teams the way that they see fit, and we get a lot of that. We get a lot of like the red tape sort of stuff, and it's funny. Like it's the stuff that would be boring in the real world, but it's cool to see it in comics because it makes it feel a little bit more real. So yeah, I liked seeing both sides of that with this story and the way that they bounce back and forth. I also just think it's a great team of characters. Like you said, there's a lot of the MCU ties with Hawkeye and Photon or whatever they're going to end up calling her, Spectrum, maybe, I don't know, America Chavez. But then there's also Persuasion, which is the new name for the purple girl, which I love. We also meet Guts and Glory, who is, I mean, first of all, just a ridiculous name, but seems like a really intriguing character. They don't give us a lot of information because it's all classified in this first issue, but I like this new character. I'm interested to learn more about him. So I did like this issue. I actually thought this was a really strong week. Um, 4 out of the 5 comics were in contention for my pick of the week. So I did like this one. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. I don't want to make it sound like it wasn't my favorite. I mean, well, it is not. That's correct. It's not my favorite, but I don't want to make it sound like it was bad. Like we've had some bad comics. This was, I think, it was good. It just felt, and I think part of the problem too is like I don't buy Luke Cage is given into all this garbage. Like
Right.
I feel like, I mean, unless that's gonna kind of resolve itself in future issues. Like I don't suddenly just like he gets elected and then suddenly he's like listening to the bureaucracy.
Right.
It just doesn't seem like the Luke Cage that became mayor.
Yeah, I think you'll see that fall apart
Yeah.
sooner rather than later. So let's move on to our second issue here, and we're going to get into some of the tie-ins for the big event that's been going on with the Axe Judgment Day. And our first one
Oh, I forgot. It's me.
is X-Men #14. Yeah, we're operating a little bit differently today. Sorry. X-Men number 14 is the first tie-in issue that we're going to be talking about here. There we go. I'm not entirely sure. This was a week of some weird covers. One in particular that I want to talk about later, but I'm not entirely sure what's going on here compared to what happens in the story. But something has switched. I think this Judgment Day event has turned a corner for X books for me, because in recent weeks they have been some of my favorites, and I really, really liked this issue. I mean, this in particular, it feels like the X-Men, right? Like that's been our big complaint about mutant-related books. Like it got so far away from the X-Men. This got back to the team. It's a somewhat new lineup, so a lot of the familiar faces there, obviously, but it feels like that team-up book, and I really liked that element of it. A lot of great stuff with Iceman in this one, who character who, longtime favorite character, but doesn't get a lot of the spotlight these days. And then just some really, really awesome artwork in this one too. So this was very close to being my pick of the week.
Yeah, I liked it too. Especially, you get some good Cyclops stuff in it, and it kind of, we're actually getting to the judgment of the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
And so this and the X-Force book, I think, actually kind of play into that. It's not so. I think Judgment Day, when it gets a little off the rails with the internals and stuff, in deep space, but when it's like, okay, there's an eternal God that's judging people or mutants or whatever, I think that's where, it gets interesting, at least from a sort of smaller narrative. I mean, the bigger stuff is it's an event, so it's going to be there.
Right.
But, on a tie-in, I think it's perfectly well handled. And this is Jerry Duggan, I think, did a great job with this book.
Yeah, I totally agree. Also, I mean, judgment being passed on Cyclops, given what we already know about the judgment that's been handed out, I'm sure there's some disappointed fans out there because Cyclops is not the most popular character. But yeah, again, really like this one. Let's talk about the second tie-in issue for this week, which is going to be X-Force number 31. And we talked about, was this last week or 2 weeks ago? We talked about the last X-Force.
Yeah.
And it had a heavy focus on Kraven. A lot more of that in this week's issue. What did you tell me your thoughts on this one?
I think you like it more than I do. I liked it. It's a little violent.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I did like when you got inside Kraven's head. Like I thought that was good, this issue. And once again, I liked it when you get into the actual judgment of Judgment Day. But I just I don't know. It was just a little too dark for me.
Yeah.
And when you have Deadpool, that's saying something. But yeah, and even the stuff with Omega Red.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to know.
Yeah, well, I think X-Force is kind of used as that title, right? That ventures into the darker themes. And Kraven, by the way, well, first off, yeah, I will say I like the stuff with Omega Red. It's a really interesting dynamic with him going on, where Krakoa is supposed to be this settlement for all mutants, regardless of their past, and yet you can't really trust some of them, and they're kind of dealing with that with Omega Red right now. So that's been interesting. But Kraven is one of those characters that, on the surface, anytime I think of Kraven, I'm like, he's fine, but then you get into some of his stories that really let you into his head, and you get him as the focal point as opposed to him being a villain for Spider-Man. And he is so interesting. Like Kraven's Last Hunt, obviously one of the most iconic Spider-Man stories ever. This has vibes of that because it really gets you in his head. And there's some really, really cool stuff with him and this Celestial and Deadpool too. So I'm really excited. It looks like Kraven is going to be somehow getting into Krakoa, which the idea of him hunting on Krakoa just sounds like a movie I want to see. It actually sounds like the next Predator movie, but I would love to see that. So I am really, really into this title right now, and this is actually my pick of the week. So like you said, yeah, I probably did like it a lot more than you because it was my favorite this week. So there you go. Let's move off of Judgment Day here, and we'll talk about Iron Fist. This is number 5. I mentioned wanting to talk about one cover in particular, and this is the one. You would think Loki has a big role to play in this and he shows up for about a page and a half. So pretty misleading as far as covers go. Well, how did you feel about Iron Fist?
Well, so I mean, I think we need to. So this is the end of this book, and it'll be continued in an Axe spinoff. And so this is. I feel like this cover is basically teasing the spinoff versus the end of this run. You know,
Right.
kind of. There's been some stuff. I thought it was a nice resolution. You know, maybe a little too quick, but it felt like okay, all those things that we've been kind of dealing with Danny kind of mentoring this guy who
Mm-hmm.
struggling but has the power of the Iron Fist, and the Kunlun stuff. So I thought it was a nice wrap up. Yeah, the cover makes. I mean, teasing. It's like going to an. It's like going to go see Avengers and the movie posters. Them eating shawarma. It's like that's the tag, not
Yeah.
the book. So
Right. Yeah. It was. I thought this one was fine. I think it was kind of the victim of a really strong week of comics that this one just kind of fell flat for me. I do like the new Iron Fist. I like this character. I'm interested to see his story. Really cool character design for him, especially now that he has this sword hand thing. So I really like that. But like I said, I mean, Iron Fist is a tough title to sell, right? Like it's not. I don't think I've ever met anybody who's been like my favorite character is Iron Fist, and in a week where you have these big issues, I mean specifically the one we're going to talk about next is a really big issue. It's hard for Iron Fist to live up, so it was fine, not great, not bad. Speaking of that big issue, let's talk about what I assume at this point is your pick of the week.
yeah, you always have a habit of making my the last title.
I probably could have guessed this beforehand too, that this would have been your pick of the week. But Amazing Fantasy number 1000, obviously big milestone Spider-Man book we got here. What was it, 72 pages or something like that? So essentially like 3 to 4 comics in one. But it's made up of what, 10 different stories, something like that. So a lot of different short stories by a lot of longtime iconic Spider-Man writers, and just great comic book writers in general. So there was a lot of great stuff in this, and I mean it's your pick of the week, so I'll let you tell me what you loved about it.
Well, sometimes these like team up books are not great, but they are, because there's like so many different authors and they do these like 2-page stories that don't make any sense, or they're just sort of throwaway stories. But I felt I didn't love every story in here, but there's some great ones. I mean, Neil Gaiman's was fascinating.
Yeah,
The sort of
that
the
was
one
cool.
with Parker and in the Spider-Verse was funny.
Yeah.
You have the sort of continuation of something from Amazing Fantasy, I think 18 or something crazy like that. So there's a lot. There was enough hits in here that it was like, oh man, that was cool. Like even if that was just the book, I would have been like, oh man, that's great. And then, it the world is littered with these like Spider-Man one shots that are anniversary. I mean, they find a way to celebrate his anniversary 800 times, but
Right.
I thought this one was particularly well executed. And there's a story in here by a Marvel marketing guy who died recently, and who we worked with back in the day, and it was you're like, oh okay, they're running a story he did as a nice sort of tribute to him, but it's actually really funny. I mean, you definitely got like this is a marketing guy who wrote it. I mean, it's filled with like Smallville references and things like that, but it's which I'm not misspeaking, it actually is. So I thought that was a nice touch too. So I was just overall, I kind of dreaded opening this thing because I was like, oh great, 72 pages of crappy Spider-Man stories, but I was wrong.
No, yeah, I agree. I enjoyed almost all of the stories. Some really, really amazing artwork in here too, because they not only the writers that they have done Spider-Man for so long, but a lot of the artists as well. Also, I just want to point out just how dare Dan Slott do something as horrible as giving an old Peter Parker and Mary Jane a dog and not telling us anything about this dog. I want more information. But Dan Slott, by the way, when you hear Dan Slott's writing Spider-Man, something bad's going to happen. That one had me on the edge of my seat the entire time I was reading it. All right, so that does it for our 5 comics this week. Let's talk She-Hulk. And I think I can do this. There we go. So yeah, She-Hulk episode 3 debuted on Disney Plus today. What do you think?
I liked it. I guess I was surprised they wrapped up the whole Emil Blonsky thing. Like, I felt like it didn't end as exciting as the first 2. Like, I don't know exactly. Like, we had the Wrecking Crew show up, and there's more to it, but it just kind of felt sort of passive. But I enjoyed what we had. I'm not an expert on Megan Thee Stallion. I remember she got shot, I think. But
that's news to me.
this was like in Variety. It's the only reason I would know. And no disrespect to her performance, I'm just old. And but it was funny. The elf stuff was funny. That one lawyer though he's a little too stupid. Like this guy got through law school.
The one like Jen's old.
Yeah.
Dennis is his name. Yeah, I agree.
I get it. Like you're supposed to be the personification of toxic masculinity, but
right.
Like even bad people are not like that ridiculous about it.
Right.
So it got a little. It was like it kind of went a little. It's one thing when Jen's talking to the fourth wall or whatever, but like that was just a little silly. Like this guy's a total buffoon.
Yeah, no, I get that, and I understand. Like, I wasn't sure what to expect with the Emil Blonsky storyline. Like, we had no idea. We heard so long ago that he was going to be in this show, and I guess we kind of, you kind of assume that he's going to have a huge role, and really they wrap up his story in 2 episodes.
See what you did there.
But yeah, I really liked. I feel like the show keeps getting funnier and funnier with each episode.
Yeah.
And you introduced Wong. That's people are gonna love that. That's great. Although Jen looks into the camera and lets us know there's not going to be a cameo every week, despite the fact that there's been a cameo every week. So,
did you catch his LinkedIn, by the way?
What was that?
His LinkedIn image?
No, I didn't.
It was like Sorcerer Supreme, like Kunlun librarian, and then on the bottom, Target sales associate.
I did not see that. No, I never went back and looked. I did look through a lot of the social media comments that like people are responding to the whole She-Hulk story, and some of those feel like they might have lifted them right from actual YouTube comments on the trailers or stuff like that. But I assume you mean Kamartaj.
I did. I said the other mystical realm.
Yeah. If they dropped Kunlun in here, that would have been pretty interesting. No, but yeah, I like introducing Wong here. I think show just keeps getting funnier and funnier. And then I thought they hit us with a pretty exciting ending. I think the introduction of the Wrecking Crew, stupid as they may be, is really cool to throw some more villains in here. And the bigger thing to me is the fact that they are working for someone. Like you hear the leader, who I would assume is Wrecker, but we don't get names for any of them except for Thunderball. But he points out that the boss isn't going to be happy. So, and their mission was to get Jen's blood, presumably, so that someone could make more Hulks. So,
do you think their leader is the leader?
That would be pretty cool. Do they bring back? Who played him in the Incredible Hulk? I can't remember his name. I don't remember, but he was in the Incredible Hulk, so it'd be cool to see if they bring him back. So yeah, it'd be really interesting to see who they are working for, and also just do we get more of the Wrecking Crew? Do they get sort of more beefed up a little bit to look like their comic book version, because they weren't quite there in this episode. So it'd be fun to see that. Also, the only other real Marvel thing that I caught in this episode was Mallory Book, another character from Dan Slott's run on She-Hulk. We talked last week about Pug and Holden Holloway. Mallory is another character from that as well. So they introduced her very, very briefly. Don't know if she's going to have a role in the series going forward at all, but yeah, pretty cool to keep name dropping like that.
Did you catch the QR code? I couldn't find it.
I did not. You know what? It always slips my mind as I am going through for my recap and stuff. It's not something I'm keeping an eye out for. I'm more so looking out for other Easter eggs, like reading through social media comments and checking the usernames if they're coming from, Master 69 or something like that. So yeah, I'm really enjoying She-Hulk. One more episode that I've already seen, and then I finally get to see a new episode, so I'm looking forward to that. But I hope everyone else is enjoying it, because I keep finding it so funny. Like, I don't remember any other Marvel show. I mean, Hawkeye had its moments, but I don't remember any others getting so many laugh out loud moments as I'm watching it for the first time. So yeah, let's jump into. We don't have a ton of Marvel news. As I mentioned, I think last week, we're sort of in that calm between two storms between San Diego Comic-Con and D23 Expo. But yeah, we have a little bit of Marvel news to talk about here. And first off, we'll start off with, this is exciting. Ben Kingsley returning to play Trevor Slattery in the Wonder Man series that has not yet been officially announced, but we kind of know that that's coming. I love this. There's a Wonder Man story arc where he is an actor in Hollywood, and so I love that this connection could work here with this, I guess, failed actor Trevor Slattery meeting with Simon Williams, and we don't know exactly what his role will be. It is rumored to be a significant role, but I'm really interested in seeing this interaction.
Sir Ben Kingsley, Gandhi himself.
There he is.
Playing Trevor Slattery on Disney Plus.
Marvel can do some amazing things sometimes. It would be great if they're casting a Planet of the Apes remake and he gets a role in that in this show.
That'd be funny, because that's all part of the family now.
Right. I mean, there is a Planet of the Apes remake actually happening. It would be amazing if he gets cast in that too.
Yeah, but as Trevor Slattery, like
yeah, exactly. There was also some casting news for Ironheart and Regan Aaliyah, not quite as big a name as Ben Kingsley, but she did have a role in Club Mickey Mouse, which I haven't watched, but
it was like a Facebook thing.
So there you go. So she also is set to appear in the Netflix series Exo Kitty. I know it's a spinoff of To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which I know is popular. So you can see her in that. And then she will have a yet undisclosed role in Ironheart as that cast continues to grow, which actually now includes Dominique Thorne, who we know will play Riri Williams, Anthony Ramos, who I don't know if we talked about this on here. Anthony Ramos rumored to be playing the Hood, which would be really, really cool. I've been a big fan of the Hood. It was a sort of a street level villain. Would love to see him in the MCU, so that's exciting. A few other names. We have Manny Montana, this Han Solo, whose name I can never pronounce, Alden Ehrenreich, Shea Cooley, and Zoe Tarakis. So there you go. The cast of Ironheart continues to grow. Are you familiar with Regan Aaliyah at all?
No.
Okay, I assumed you had watched the what was it, Club Mickey Mouse?
I did, but it was like she was like a mouse. Like I didn't. There was like tons of them, and so she was like a Mouseketeer. It was like they're trying to revive Mickey Mouse Club on Facebook.
Yeah,
and so Marshall Knight on our team, like it was his dream to do this thing, but like it just never caught on, and so like I don't know. It was back in the day when that like Maker Studios, like it was a different time.
Little bit of She-Hulk somewhat news. The She-Hulk Twitter account shared Emil Blonsky's haikus, which, if you, like me, were just so disappointed that we didn't get to hear them in last week's episode, you can actually get some of them on Twitter right now. Hang on, I have a couple for you. Ready? To the world, I am an abomination, but to me, I'm a meal. There you go. There's and then it's lonely in here, though I don't see it that way. I have my soulmates. There's some of Emil Blonsky's poetry.
I want a Marvel one shot for every soulmate.
Like an actual, like, have they done a one shot in a long time? What's the most recent one?
Oh, I don't even need to, like, I'm fine if you're being a comic book, like an
Okay,
MCU comic book, Marvel Unlimited, wherever you got to do to make this happen. I want to know. I want to get inside their head.
I am not sure I agree with that.
Because the way they looked when he transformed into the Abomination, little disturbing.
Yep, I agree. Wasn't going to go there, but I totally agree. A little bit of merchandise news. We have a new Gore figure. There was the whole Thor Love and Thunder wave where we saw the MCU version of Gore releasing a Hasbro figure, which was really cool. But this one, I mean, I haven't been so tempted to buy a new figure in quite a while. This is now available for pre-order on Amazon. Gore the God Butcher, complete with the all black, aka the Necro Sword, which you can see. Interestingly, though, that it's not an accessory, the all black. It's actually attached to his hand. So he does come with an alternate hand. So you can swap it out. So if you don't want holding the black, so that's, just a different way to have the accessory. He also has an alternate head as well. So a couple of cool accessories. Again, he is available for pre-order right now and arrives in October. So not too long of a wait for Gore the God Butcher. And then one of the most tempting collections of apparel we've had in the Marvel world. Roosevelt's now has Marvel polos. You can see this Black Panther and Spider-Man design on there. There's also an Infinity Gauntlet design that I think I have to get. It's just got it's like a space background with all of the Infinity Stones and the gauntlet all over it. I haven't purchased. Do you have any Roosevelts? Like they are known for like the button-down shirts.
Yeah, I don't think I have any of their polos.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know they did polos until this collection was announced, and I'm a polo guy a lot of the times, and I might have to get a couple of these.
Yeah, that tracks.
Lastly, we have a little bit of comic book news. We have a new The Wasp series, which will be coming in January. Fittingly, it comes out in January 18th, 2023. Listen, you made me talk to Tony earlier for a little while, so it kind of, I absorbed it. Couple of covers for the Wasp #1 you see here. I'll just read the description real quick. After countless Avengers missions, earth-shattering battles, and fabulous costumes, Janet Van Dyne is ready to start a new chapter in her legendary superhero career. But as she sets out to change up her role within Earth's mightiest heroes, a villain from her past rises out of the shadows to ruin all she's worked for. So I am excited for this. The Wasp is a really, really fun character that hasn't really gotten the time of day for quite a long time.
Well, so she was stuck in the what do they call it? The quantum realm? I don't know if that's what they call it in comic books, but she was stuck there for a long. When I started really getting into comics, she was gone.
Yeah, that's true too.
And I think this ties into that Ant-Man sort of miniseries that's running right now.
Yes,
it kind of goes.
Yeah, you see the same style of the cover right there. Tom Riley's the cover artist, and these match his Ant-Man covers as well. So yeah, that again comes out January 18th, 2023. And then we have one other comic series to talk about, and that is, not really a comic series. It's an event sort of that plays out over 3 different titles. Spider-Man Unforgiven will be the first one. We don't have a date for it just yet. It just comes next year. But this is the Forgiven, the vampire team of heroes, which they refer to them as the fan favorite team. I don't know that you can really call them fan favorites. I don't think many people are aware of the Forgiven, but basically they're going to be facing a new villain who wants to take on or take over what is left of the souls of vampires, I suppose, and turn them into their worst selves to, really create them, have them be monsters. And they are trying to fight that. So this is going to be told over Spider-Man Unforgiven, X-Men Unforgiven, and Avengers Unforgiven. And again, it'll start off next year with Spider-Man Unforgiven. I do really like the art here. So I'm interested in like as we talked about with our comics this week, I like a darker comic every now and then. So I'm interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Again, just next year is all we have for this one. So it is kind of weird time. Like this seems like it would be an October comic, but I don't know. We'll see.
That would have been nice.
So yeah, that's all we have for this week. Another fun episode of She-Hulk, some really great comics.
So I will say that we are going to be taking at least the next 2 weeks off, mainly due to the D23 Expo and then my post-Expo vacation. But still watch She-Hulk. We'll catch up on all that stuff when we get back. Mac will still be doing comic reviews as time permits outside of Expo. And then we'll be keeping up with Judgment Day and all the other fun stuff coming up from Marvel, including, by the time we get back, we'll be sort of knee deep into getting ready for Wakanda Forever.
Yeah,
so,
we'll be getting pretty close to that. We also, Zacks of Life will still be new on Monday. The following Monday is going to be a little bit tougher, but we might figure something out. Kyle and I will find a way to throw something together, I suppose.
You'll take the good, you'll take the bad.
There you go. Yeah. Anything else? I think that's it. I think we covered it. What else do we have coming up?
I think we got it. I mean, it's I think we know that we're going to have a lot to talk about. Mac and I will be talking about the Marvel panel, or I should say the Disney Studios panel that includes Marvel. Sometime after that happens, so
it's the Marvel panel. Let's be honest.
Will be around, and we don't know what's going to be announced. I mean, we could guess, but it's only a week away, so why guess? Just wait. And no. So, thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Thanks, Mac.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.